Matt Getters here. This video serves as entry into Brent0331's PCI contest giveaway. Before we get started, I do want to disclose something to Brent's audience primarily. Brent did come out and do some training with us at One Shepherd in the fall of 2017, and that's how I got hooked up with his channel. That's why I'm doing this contest video. I think it's pretty fun. But as such, given that I'm the director of training of One Shepherd, I'm not really doing this video as the director of training. I'm doing this personally. But if I do win that grand prize, that optic, I'm going to pass that right along to One Shepherd. I know they can use it. They're an all volunteer, not-for-profit school. So that will go in one of their flat top rifles. So with that out of the way, let's get started. The first thing I'd like to do as part of this PCI contest is give you a back brief of what I understand the mission to be. As you know, as some of your viewers know, that's one of the options that leadership can choose to employ when they conduct a PCI. Basically ask the troops what they understood about the mission. So I'll attempt to do that right now. I do have some notes over here to the side. Normally I'd spend about a half hour going through that mission statement, memorizing the commander's intent, its purpose, key, task, and state. If you don't have one of those memorized, it's not a commander's intent. So here's the situation as I understand it. We're at Fob Devil Dog. That's in the northern section of Turkestan. It's where we're at sits 55 miles southwest of the Turkestan and Sherpistan border. And the forecast over the next 3 days, highs in the 60s, lows in the 40s, 80% chance of rain, day 2. It's going to be important for our PCI, obviously. The Turkestan Liberation Force, over the last 48 hours, has kind of intruded into the area to our northwest. We believe they're opening up supply lines, or wishing to open up supply lines deeper into our region. They're carrying primarily Eastern Bloc weapons, so AKs, AKMs, RPKs, Dishkas, RPGs, things of that nature. Our mission statement. As Alpha Company, 1st Platoon, 1st Squad, we will conduct a 3-day combat patrol in the vicinity of 619-318 in order to deny the enemy movement through our AO. Commander's intent, as I understand it, is as follows. The purpose is to deny the enemy effective use of our AO. The key tasks by which we're going to accomplish that are mainly harassing engagements such as ambushes and raids. We assume you've given us highly accurate intelligence in order to actually go conduct raids on those fixed targets. That the end of these 3 days, we would have denied the enemy any open supply lines in the AO. Before we get started into the guts of this PCI, I did want to explain the format that I'm going to use. I know you wanted us to do it on a green tarp, put all of our stuff. Green items on a green tarp maybe won't show up on film so well, so I'll bring the camera closer. We'll do it on this bench as I explain different groups of things. I'm also going to be using Tactical Tommy here. This is a dummy that I got from a closing Tommy Hilfiger store. I actually do hang my kit on him normally. I don't normally put a uniform on him, but he does normally serve to hold my LBE. With that, I'm going to do things maybe a little bit differently than you had intended, or maybe your audience had intended. This could obviously get pretty exhaustive, justifying every single piece of kit and why I feel it needs to be there. Everything stripped down. I think because of the audience, because it is to you, an infantry, staff sergeant, Marine Corps, I wouldn't need to explain things in great detail like why I have pace count beads or why I have a red lens flashlight. I don't need to say anything more than this is what I'm bringing for those items. If it's at all questionable, I will try to give an explanation, but this is a PCI. We're about to step off, so I'm going to keep this as brief as I can. Do want to say, though, for your viewers who are interested in this sort of thing, this video has actually inspired me to do something I wanted to do for a long time as part of a War Nerds article. So I started a website called warnerds.com, which is really just kind of the second generation of another website that One Shepherd used to be highly involved in, called odjournal.com. That is the ad line for that was there, the Journal of Milsim Tactics. So warnerds.com basically is the second generation of that, breathing some life back into that again. So it's more the scholarly approach of we get into tactics, we get into gear, we get into leadership. And so I want to do a deep dive on all the layers here from, we can do a 10-minute video alone of just the clothing and what's worn on the person, minus the LBE, minus the rifle, and minus a rucksack. So look for that in the future, but this is going to be a pretty condensed version of that with explanations as necessary based on the audience. So with that, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to demonstrate is what we wear as a base layer. So start with the naked body, and we'll clothe it from there and demonstrate what goes on it and why. So first thing, pick a pair of silkies. Cotton is rotten generally. Usually that phrase or moniker is used for cold weather. When cotton gets wet and cold, bad things happen. Doesn't really dry out, so you can get into hypothermia. Given that we're in 40 degrees and rainy, that is entirely a possibility. USGI wool socks or a wool blend. I use these 4-season. Never really had a problem with them. Similarly, a polycotton blend t-shirt. I've picked a OD uniform. As you've described, the terrain for this is going to be pretty much what you would describe mid-Missouri to be. And One Shepherd's been training there for the last 35 plus years. And OD really does rule in that sort of thing. As you've explained, it's just starting to get into the fall season in this scenario. So the leaves are just starting to turn colors, but you've described a primarily green background with browns, forested, some rocky, hilly terrain, not mountainous terrain, but we've seen this camouflage pattern, if you will, even though it's not a pattern, it's a solid color, really shine in that sort of thing. So that's why I've chosen that uniform. In the knee pads, we're going to have knee pads of the uniform. We're going to have these cheap little foam knee pads. They actually are meant to go in there. Bottom of those Velcro open. In the calf pocket, we're going to have some butt wipes in case you have an emergency poo out in the middle of a patrol. We're also going to include a length of duct tape around a credit card. That way, if you blow a knee open or need to tape up an item of clothing that gets ripped, you can do that with OD duct tape on there. On the left wrist, we're going to wear a watch with an indigo backlight. On the right wrist, we're going to wear a wrist-mounted GPS unit. This one does have a electronic compass inside of it as well, but this is my secondary form of secondary tool for navigation. First being map and compass, always. In the upper left shoulder pocket, got a boo-boo kit, basically. This also has note-taking gear inside of that. So you've got basically a Write in the Rain notepad here, red lens, UV lens, which I'll explain in a little bit. Tweezers in the back here. I've got a boo-boo kit. Like I said, it's got Band-Aids, alcohol wipes, antibiotic ointment, things for just small scrapes when you're out on patrol. The full IFAK is actually going to be worn on the LBE. In the upper left breast pocket, I grabbed one of our rules of engagement. Anything that you would give us as any sensitive item that you would give us would go there. I wish I could show you what's on the back side of this, but this is actually something that I've been in development with for a while here. This is going to hold maps, any SOI, and how this works is actually pretty cool. Wish I could show you the back side of this, but it'd give too much away at this point. But that's going to go right here. It's designed to go in the upper left-hand breast pocket. So maps, SOI, so that's your signal operating instructions, how to operate a radio, where our challenge and passwords are going to be. The remainder of any SOI you would give us is not going to go there. You don't keep it all in the same place. That way, if you're captured, subsequent SOIs are not captured as well. You only keep one on you. Ideally, the other ones are stuffed away in a ruck or one person's ruck. So if one person gets captured while they have the ruck on them, doesn't destroy that SOI for the entire unit. Moving up, so I wear this synthetic necky. It's this big long tube. You can pull it over the face. A lot of these guys pull it up to their nose and think that counts as camouflage. It doesn't. What this does is just basically keep the wind off my neck, takes the sweat off of it as well. It also does serve to kind of hold a head-mounted light closer to my body, so it's not doing that. So this one is white, red, infrared, and it naturally comes with blue, but I've modified that LED. Blue works really well for blood. Hunters, I guess, use that at night. I've changed that to UV, ultraviolet, and the reason is as follows. On the back of the boonie, I've sewn in cat eyes. So normally those come in a band that are worn around the helmet. For light infantry patrolling, we don't wear a helmet, I'm not going to wear body armor. We need to be able to move fast. So I've taken those elements and actually sewn them into the back of the name tape here, so those behind me can see and follow me in patrol. Turns out that UV light is actually what activates this. So when any glow-in-the-dark material gets exposed to sunlight, it's really the UV in sunlight that's lighting these up. That's why a lot of times certain LEDs will not make glow-in-the-dark material work. It's actually UV. So I've got a UV light in here. I also have a UV light that gets carried in the upper left-hand shoulder pocket there. It's the same sort of UV light that you may see at the airport. Whether check your driver's license underneath there, or they may do that at a concert or something, or check your ticket, that sort of thing. It's UV light. Last few pieces of kit I want to talk about actually are boots. Forgot to mention that I just can't see them in frame, so I pulled them up here. Danner Rat's Rugged All-Terrain Boots. I've got a rapid lacing system on the top. In the right-hand thigh pocket, I've got a ruggedized zip-top bag, and that I stick almonds in, filled to the brim. That lasts me usually 3 days. That way, if I'm away from my ruck and I need a snack out on patrol, I just reach in there and do that. In the left-hand thigh pocket, keep a watch cap. That way, if I'm out late at night, need to throw this under my boonie or under my helmet, I can do that. I also keep my J-arm for my night vision rolled up in here. That way, if a patrol does extend into the nighttime hours, I've always got that on me. So for the next items I'd like to present for this PCI inspection, this is my fighting load. On it primarily are provisions for 6 magazines, as you've required, 2 per pouch. These are really nice. They do collapse down, so one will actually stay in there. I've got provisions for multi-tool. That goes in a pouch. With Fastex buckle. Don't really like Velcro. This is a little quieter. Inside here fits night vision, PVS 14s. Got a tourniquet there. Inside here is IFAC. Demonstrate that it is real. Chest decompression needle, halo chest seal, an Izzy bandage, triangular bandage, gloves, pen. Associated with the IFAC is trauma shears. That's wedged behind a compass pouch. Inside there, I've got a USGI tritium compass on a lanyard, so take it out, throw it around my neck. Next to the compass on the right-hand side, you've mandated that we have the ability to carry 2 M67 frag grenades. I've got, obviously these are dummies. Normally that's something we don't carry in One Shepherd, so I don't have dedicated pouches for that, but I did want to demonstrate the ability to have room for that and actually carry the weight of that. So next to that, I do have provisions for IR tabs in case we need to show those or hide those. This easily flips around the other one. Next to that, red lens flashlight can become white, only red. Once again, Fastex buckle, and then whistle, OD whistle for signaling. On the left-hand side, got a dump pouch, 3 liters of water, pace count beads on one side. This hook is actually how I sling my rifle. I'll demonstrate that near the end. And the helmet, just a bump helmet, non-ballistic. I might probably actually rip that off since I'm not going to be running a radio. Rip all these down leads off. Actually made that myself. But in the back you've got glint tape and 2 cat eyes sewn in there. So there you have it. Before we get into the rucksack and the contents that go into the rucksack, I thought I'd briefly mention the configuration of the rifle selected for this. AR-15, obviously. In the vertical foregrip, I do have a front sight post adjustment tool. In the pistol grip, I do carry a bottle of lube, namely Ballistol. Red dot sight, D-ball, visible laser and infrared with flood. Also have a incandescent flashlight on the front of it with a IR filter, so I can use that white light or IR. Before we demonstrate what goes into the ruck, I thought I'd show you the empty ruck and how I have it configured. Using a medium Alice, I do have an additional bag attached down to the bottom here. On this side, I've got a pouch for Jetboil, 1 quart canteen there, 1 quart canteen here. E-tool or shovel will go in there. Spot for a small pack axe. Miscellaneous pouch, I like to stick granola bars, snacks, things like that in here. And then a few old Alice pouches, I like to stick batteries in there. It's completely empty. Next we'll show you the contents of what goes in it. As you can see, this is everything laid out that will go into the ruck. I'll briefly mention what each item is. So, a set of polypropylene tops and bottoms with the weather the way it is, with that being pretty cold in the evenings and potentially pretty wet on day 2. Good option to have. 4 additional pairs of socks, 2 additional pairs of shirts, underwear, wool gloves for those evenings, a shemagh in case it gets cold. Continue to work this way with clothing. We've got a Gore-Tex poncho to simulate the requirement that you had to carry 100 rounds of belted .308 and 2 star clusters and a claymore. I've picked out 2 TA-312 field phones. That should roughly be the equivalent weight and overall encumbrance of those items that you mentioned. Got a tarp here, bungees for the tarp, small inflatable pillow. I like to be comfy. Face cami so I can touch up. Spool of 550 cord, and so I can burn the ends and cut it. Extra batteries for the wrist-mounted GPS unit. Extra CR123 batteries for the flashlight, 2 flashlights, and the D-ball laser on the rifle takes 1. Butt wipes, poop shovel, entrenching tool. I carry a small pack axe. It's good once you get into a patrol base or hide. I immediately start cutting away the little twigs and small saplings that grow. That way you're not hitting them all night. Easy to cut those away. 2 1-quart canteens. This one has a lid for my meal solution. This I could go into a lot of depth of why I choose to use a Jetboil and make my own dehydrated meals. I can do MREs, but I have a dietary restriction. I won't go too far into that, but just know that this represents the equivalent of 1 MRE. Has the same nutritional benefits. I've weighed it all out. Briefly go over what's inside of it. You got some snack food. You got vitamins to supplement. Wisps for brushing your teeth. Matches. Hand sanitizer. Some little fruit roll-ups there. Or fruit snacks there. This one happens to be breakfast, so it's oatmeal, cranberries, and dried up apple chicken sausage. So, right now I don't have a lot of these made up because I just consumed my last batch for the fall semester at One Shepherd. So this is 1. I would take 4 for a 3-day patrol. I will find something of similar weight and bulk to pack my ruck with, so I'm not cheating on the weight. The next items you see are primarily related to the sleeping bag. Did want to show that I do have a wet weather bag that will hold all of my clothes. For the sleeping bag, going with the USGI, I'm going to carry just the black bag and the Gore-Tex bivvy. I know that technically the green bag and the Gore-Tex are rated down to 30 degrees, but given the chances, could be pretty wet. Want to have that extra layer of warmth there. I will throw a whoopee inside of this, like to snuggle up with that, hold over my face, what have you. Got the good old spaghetti straps and a 6-strap compression stuff sack. All right, as you can see, I have everything on. In a moment here, I'll ask my wife to show you close-up 360 of everything that I'll have on me. What's going to happen here, she's also, at the end of it, going to show the weight of everything that I have on here. After that, we'll go to a quick sped-up footage of me unpacking everything, basically. Way to prove that everything that I told you would be in here is in here. And at the end of it, I'll show you my essentially naked body weight on the same scale. One final thing to prove that this rifle is real. Pull out the bolt for you. Real bolt. them up. Now we weigh ourselves. £269.4 pounds. Basically call it 270. With that, we'll take everything off as fast as I can. I'll speed up the footage.